I'm pissed off. And you better get pissed off. Because the beautiful country I grew up in, we're losing. It's under threat. We have the first president in history of this country that actively facilitates cross-border crime. He opened this border up. No one's celebrating more than the criminal cartels in Mexico. They control the northern border of Mexico, and he gave them the power. I've worked for 6 presidents, just like Mark. I started with Ronald Reagan. I respect every president I ever worked for. But no president has done more for this country, secure our border, protect the men and women of ICE and the Border Patrol, first responders in the military, than the greatest president in my lifetime, President Donald Trump. And you can hate him, you can love him, I don't much care. My wife asks me all the time, she goes, does it bother you that half the country hates you? I said, no, because they're wrong. I started Border Patrol in 1984. I wore that uniform. And President Trump, when he came down to the border wall, he didn't talk to the chiefs. He talked to the men and women on the front line. He asked them, what do you need? What can I do? How can we secure this border? He talks to guys like me and Mark Morgan. What needs to be done? Brandon Judd, the National Union President for Border Patrol's here. He talks to him. What do we need to do? He talks to the experts. Kamala Harris went to the border today. Exactly. She goes to El Paso and stands in an air-conditioned DHS building. Did she go to the border wall? No. Why? Because border wall. She's afraid to talk to men and women in green because they will tell her, why'd you stop building my wall that worked? Why'd you stop the President Trump policies that worked? The reason children are dying, women are getting raped, record amounts of fentanyl come across this country is because of President Biden, the open borders policy. This president sold out this country to win an election. He made promises. Look, in July of last year, I wrote an op-ed on Fox saying if Joe Biden becomes president, we lose the border. People said, Homan's a racist. He's a fearmonger. He's just trying to get President Trump elected. Yeah, I did. I was. But everything I said came true. He made promises of end ICE detention, end the Remain in Mexico program, a moratorium on deportations, cut the head off ICE, lose 90% of their authority. And on top of that, we're going to end detention. On top of that, with all this, I'm going to give you free health care. He didn't think that was going to cause a surge that we've never seen like this border. He knew exactly what he was doing. This is by design, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't mismanagement. This isn't incompetence. They came with a plan to open that border up, and that's what they've done. So we got to get them the hell out of office. And I agree with Mark. Secretary Mayorkas, he hasn't done one thing to slow the flow. He hasn't done one thing to enforce the law. He has abdicated his responsibility to enforce the law on the border and enforce the law in the interior. And if you all think that all these people being released will someday see a judge get order removed and they'll be deported, wrong. Because at the same time he opened the border up, he decapitated ICE, my agency that he grew up in. It is no longer illegal to be illegally in the United States. If you're an illegal alien, walk up to an ICE agent today and tell him, I'm here illegally. A judge order to be removed. I'm a fugitive now. I'm also a gang member. What are you going to do about it? ICE can't touch him. Being illegal in the United States is no longer enough for an immigration officer to arrest you and deport you. That is what's happening. So it's not a coincidence they open the border up, then they handcuff ICE. So look, why is there thousands coming over? Because they can't lose. Here's what President Trump understood. I talked to the sheriffs about this today. If you look at the data the last 10 years, the immigration court data, anybody can look at it, it's the DOJ website. 90% of Central Americans who come to the border to claim asylum never win their case. They either don't show up or they don't qualify. 9 out of 10. They get order removed by an immigration judge. What happens that hundreds of thousands of people that went to, at your great taxpayer expense and were ordered removed by a judge, what happened to them? Nothing. How many leave? 3%. When we brief President Trump, he goes, wait a minute. 90% make a fraudulent claim, and they all lose their case, and only 3% leave. Why the hell are we doing this? We won't stop us. We ended catch and release. That's why the Remain in Mexico program was there. He ended catch and release because it was nothing but a bullshit game. People come here and make a fraudulent claim, get released in the United States, never to be seen again. What did Joe Biden do? having the same exact data. He knows 90% don't qualify. He knows less than 3% leave. What does he do? Let them all in. These people are never going anywhere. And as Mark said, this is just an immigration problem. This is a national security issue. Here's what President Trump got that Joe Biden will never get. When half of the Border Patrol is no longer on the line because they're making baby formula, changing diapers, and making hospital runs and take care of families and children, and they already said 40 to 50% no longer on the line. When that happens, that's when the cartels send their fentanyl. That's when our cartels send their gang members. And let me tell you something about the UACs. When I was the ICE director, we did an operation in Long Island called Operation Matador. We arrested almost 500 gang members, most of them MS-13. Over 42% of those gang members came into this country as a UAC. So, and 75% of these UACs coming across are ages 16, 17. These are gang members, many of them. So it's not who they claim to be. Family members, when under Trump administration, we did DNA testing, found out 30% of family members weren't even family members. These kids are being trafficked by adults that weren't even related to them. What's the Biden administration do? He's welcoming more families, and he stopped the DNA testing. They're doing very little DNA testing, which means, and when the Trump administration was in power, these families came in, we vetted any sponsor that took custody of them. Anybody that's in that household, we checked. We vetted them, make sure they're not a predator, make sure they're not a criminal, make sure they're not a sex offender. Joe Biden stopped that. Secretary Mayorkas stopped that. So mark my word. In a few years, we're going to find out many of these children were released to criminals and to sexual predators. God help us. I want to give a special shout out, as Mark did, to the angel moms and dads in the audience. And there's two sets of angel mom and dads, just so you know. There's angel moms that lost their children at the hands of an illegal alien. The children were murdered. There's other angel moms who lost their children to fentanyl. Fentanyl coming across that border. You know, during the last family surge, over 62,000 Americans died from fentanyl overdoses. So this is an immigration issue, it's a public safety issue. This is a national security issue. Why is it a national security issue? Because when 50% of the Border Patrol is no longer on the line, you want to come to this country and blow something up, you can't get a plane ticket anymore because too many database checks. You can't get a visa anymore because of the visa security program. Thank God for President Trump. So they're going to come across the border the way 20 million others did, especially when half the Border Patrol is no longer on the line. That's why this immigration crisis is a national security crisis. So the angel moms and dads, the audience, I love each and every one of you. I met most of them when I was the ICE director. And what really pisses me off, Kamala Harris is on the border today, and she mentioned, well, I'm in El Paso, the site of family separation. Well, we did zero tolerance. I will not apologize for zero tolerance. When you enter this country illegally, it's a crime. If you get prosecuted, you get separated from your child. And I talked to the sheriffs today. There's not a sheriff here that hasn't separated an American family when a parent got arrested. There's not a different set of rules for them. And what they don't talk about, during the zero tolerance, illegal immigration dropped 40% in Rio Grande Valley in a week. There has to be a system of consequence deterrence. The same people that want to bitch to me about zero tolerance have no problem tearing a baby out of the mother's womb and killing it. They're fine with that. But they're not okay with enforcing laws on the border. I am scared to death what's going to happen next 2 years. We'll take it back in 2022, but what are we going to do till then? What I'm going to do, what Mark's more doing, I've written more affidavits suing the Biden administration than I've written as 34 years as a federal agent. I'm suing the hell out of them. I'm working with the Texas AG, I'm working with the Florida AG, I'm working with the Phoenix AG. Sue the hell out of them. So listen, people, you got to get loud, you got to get crazy. And I'm going to end it with this. What else can we do? You got to get loud. You got to hold your, as I told a congressman when she works for me, they all work for you. Raise hell. Raise hell. And by the way, where's AOC? Why ain't she standing next to a chain link fence next to an empty parking lot crying for children? More children have died under Biden administration than ever died under Trump administration. Let's make that clear. So I want to tell you a really quick story. It's going to make you feel better. It made me feel better. I did Fox and Friends 2 weeks ago. I finished the hit. I got a studio in my basement. So just so you know, I'm probably not wearing pants when I do those hits.